Hello. I want to go over some functionality that has been enhanced, changed a little bit since our last release in our so in this release version 4.44, we make some changes to something we released in 4.43. In the previous release, we added a record lock on certain records, master records most notably, like a formula, for example, and a batch. The whole idea was that if you try to go and process a batch, if somebody else has it open, there were some data issues associated with that we just didn't want to they were causing problems for various clients. And so what we added in the previous release was a lock that basically says if you're the second person to bring this in, you can work with the formula, you could print it, or the batch ticket, you could do all those things. You just can't make any changes to save. So the save button is disabled. So it looks like it's a functioning window, but it's not, because the save button is disabled. Now, in the previous release, we put a message down on the bottom left saying it's locked by a certain user. We have now changed that, and we've moved it up kind of at eye level right in the middle of the screen, and that will always be present no matter what you've got showing as far as sections. Batch is locked by user, in this case squatter. That's a user in my vicinity system, and changes cannot be saved. So basically we've inactivated the save. So the change that we made, one of the changes that we made, is just on the notification. We've moved it up so it becomes more obvious to the user. We got a ton of support calls on this, people not being able to see it down below or not noticing it down below. So we made it eye level and jump out at you. The other thing that we did is we added the clearing of this lock. Oh, first of all, let me start by saying, when I close if Squatter has it open and that user has it open and then closes the screen or actually navigates to another batch, that clears that lock and now it's gone. But the problem happens where a user either got kicked out of the system, maybe there was an error thrown, a network issue, whatever, and that login record and also lock was orphaned and was sitting in a table. That caused that record to be permanently locked, and we were having to go in and release that lock for you. So we've done we've done another thing other than just show you. We've also gone, and as part of the ability to clear your active users, and so under active users, when you clear a login, that will also go and check any locks that this user had on the system. That can happen in things like, again, getting locked out for some error or a network issue, or maybe you've got multiple remote desktop servers and they're logged in under one server and they're on a different server now, that type of thing. So you can come in and actually clear the user, and that will also clear the lock. If you're a database administrator, you may want to know where that lock is stored in case you want to go and address it yourself. There's actually, under my system database happens to be called Vicinity. Not everybody's is called that, but it's typically some hybrid of Vicinity, like Vicinity Sys or something like that. But there is a table out here, Entity Lock, and that's where we have these record locks that are sitting here. I've gone and manually manipulated my system so that I get the locks, and I've got one on a batch and one on a formula. So if I want to get rid of that lock, aside from releasing the user squatter like I showed you a minute ago, you could actually come in and delete that record out of the database. Now, only do this if you're a database administrator and you know what you're doing. You can't really hurt anything in this particular table. It just removes the locks is all that this one's doing. But please be very careful if you're going to be in Server Management Studio. We're happy to do it for you if that's necessary. So what I've done is I've gone and picked up, remove that lock, and so I should be able to come back in, pick up that same batch, and now it should come up exactly what I'm used to. In other words, I don't have that message saying Squatter is on my record. So hopefully this kind of helps clear some things up and gets your users better indication that somebody else has that record open and that they would be contending for changes on that batch or that formula or that component, but also gives you some better understanding of how that lock can be cleared. We will continue to monitor this and make additional clears where necessary. Those are the ones we can see so far. Anyway, we hope that helps, and let us know what we can do to help your processing in the future.